Welcome to Tactical Tuesday. My name is Russell Pearson, and for the last 25 years, I've been working in the areas of sales, marketing, and promotion. And I'm here to bring you a bite sized chunk, just a little bite sized chunk of goodness to actually get your week rolling along on Tactical Tuesday. Now, today I'm going to be talking about how to manage the ups and downs of business. I do very well, John. Good to see you here. The ups and downs of business, because I just came off the back of a fantastic workshop talking about how to design a product or service in the next 30 days, even if you've never done it before. I like that little title. But I did that conversation with a whole big group in New South Wales, and I come off the back of that fantastic, pumped, and then I go and check some emails and there's some fires to put out. There's some things to look after, and so we've got this sort of shifting playing field that we find ourselves in business where we can be feeling like excited one point, and then like the next we're finding ourselves in this place where we're like got doubt creeping in or disappointment creeping in, or we should be further along keeping in. And it's interesting that I don't know if you've ever felt like it, that you're just like stuck, where you've gone, I feel like I should be somewhere else, but I'm stuck here. I feel like this is the place that I was in, like where it was 3 months ago, or the place I was in like 3 years ago. And then, like, in a month's time, you could be going, wow, things are so busy. I've got so much work on. I can't even think about how to actually control the growth. So you get this sort of roller coaster ride that actually happens in business, and I can completely understand that. In the first business that I started, it was it was sort of a roller coaster ride up. I think I was at $80,000 in the first year, and we ended up going into debt for like some tax that I had to pay. Then in the next year, we went to $300,000, and I'm trying to handle it with minimal staff. And then on the next year, I'm employing staff, and there's a whole big issue around that. And we're going up and down. Yeah. It's like walking through heavy mud, 100%, John. That's the feeling that it can sometimes feel like. And then on the flip side, you can feel like you're flying. And so that's why a lot of us, people ask us the question, do we have a mental instability? Is there something going on? Because we've got these high highs and low lows, and we can be a little bit all over the place as entrepreneurs. But what I tend to find is that people I'm working with want to go from that place where there's just this unsure, inconsistent ups and downs roller coaster ride that they're on. And they go, you know what? I want to get off the roller coaster ride. I want to actually step off and step into a place where I can just cruise for a while. I want to just be able to actually grow the business at a pace that feels very comfortable. That, we've got a future ahead of us. Yes, there's a little bit of a stretch there. Yes, we are growing, but a point where we just enjoy the ride. Things become more fun, right? We start loving what we do again. And it's no longer this, crazy, things are going all over the place, and we're up in here and it's so fantastic. And then we're down here and we're just feeling horrible about that stuff. We actually want to get into a place where everything's much smoother. And, it's it's the concept of, you've got the Cadillac with the open top, and you got your arm out the window and you're like, I'm just cruising along. Now, I don't know if you're a low rider type, but you know what I mean. You're cruising along. Things just become so much easier. Now, how do they become easier? Well, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen by accident. It's really like these three things in particular that I find that are helping people manage the ups and downs within business. And if you're not doing these things, this might be an actual call to action to go, all right, maybe I need to start looking. Because the first thing in particular, and it depends on what area of your business you need help with, but getting support is such a big thing. Like this entrepreneurial journey that we're all on, it can be a very lonely space. I mean, that's what's cool about having the Future Proof discussion group, is we get to come here together, we get to have these conversations together. But ideally, we need to then step away from that, go back to our own business and be the leader, and ideally be a magician and create something out of nothing, right? And so where are you getting support? Do you have support either from a business coach or a sales coach or a marketing coach, or someone that's just like a service provider? There's experts out there that are service providers to help you get what you need. Now, it's not a case of like just going and grabbing someone. Do your research, get referrals, find out who you align with. Like, that's really key in making sure this stuff works. But if you don't have support, it becomes a very lonely business. And there's, especially when you're working on your own, there's no one to really bounce those ideas off. There's no one to actually vent to when you need to. And there's no one to actually hold you accountable, which I think is a really cool thing about having someone that you work with to hold you accountable to say, you said you were going to do this. Why wasn't that done? and you go, you're right. Like that is something that I said I would do, and I need to make time for it. I need to diarize that or do whatever I need to do to make it happen. And so having that support, investing in that support, actually putting time on the line and going, yeah, I know I'm busy, but I'm going to make time to make this thing happen. Or yeah, I know that cash flow is tight, but if I invest in this area, it's going to open up so many more opportunities. It's going to open up time for me, and it's going to enable me to have a business that's so much easier to run than having to like run in all these screaming directions and being on this full-on roller coaster ride. So investing in support is a massive key. Number two, the thing that I think is very important from a step-by-step process, and sometimes it's the supporter that can help you get this done. It's not trying to have these goals that are unachievable. Like everyone's got these big goals and these big whys and these big things that they're trying to actually, these big futures they're trying to go toward. Instead of that, yeah, we have an intention. Yeah, we have a direction we want to go in. I'm not a believer in SMART goals. I think they're rigid. I think they're a good way to get disappointed. But what I am a believer on is creating intentions on the direction that I want to go and then making weekly, if not daily, tiny little but powerful steps to make it happen. So you may have heard the idea of like just get down and do 2 push-ups, right? If you're down doing 2 push-ups, you might do 3, you might do 10, you might do 20, but you only need to do the 2. That's what it comes down to in this activity to get things done. What is the one thing that you can actually implement in half an hour in your business for this week? Something that's going to return and compound and be really effective for you. If you put it in today, it's going to be better for you next week and the week after that and the week after that. Half an hour, an hour. I mean, I'm working on a thing at the moment on how to actually get a day back into your business. When you've been flat out, you're busy. You're like, how can I concentrate an entire day on building my business? Once you have that day, it's amazing what you can do. It's amazing what you can do with just an hour. But it's creating these tiny steps, not trying to say I need to do 5 things this week, not saying I need to do 10 things this week, not even 3 things. What is the one most important, tiny, I can get it done in half an hour, step that I can add into my business, working on the business, so it's not in the business, but on the business thing, that's going to be really powerful over time. If I can make this step, it could be putting in an automatic payment. It could be putting in a lead magnet. It could be putting in an email campaign. It could be doing all these different things, but you put it in once and it returns a benefit for you over time. What is that in your business? What is that for you today or this week, right? So what's the tiny little thing? And then number 3 is understanding that it's not just about outcomes. And I guess that's where the SMART goal thing comes from as well. It's not about creating just these big outcomes and going, I'm going to do this thing by this period of time and I'm going to make it all happen. It's about, all right, I'm going in this direction and I'm going to make regular progress. Now, I like the idea of checking in every single week. And so every single Monday, I get very clear about what are the things that are wins from last week. What are the things that are lessons from last week? And what are the actions that I'm going to commit to in the week ahead to make it happen? Now, that's something that I do at the start of every week. And when I do that, I'm looking at what are my actual intentions currently. So, for instance, in this next period, so it's the next 6 weeks that I'm actually working on, I'm releasing a new product called the Specialist Sales System, which is all about helping can't even speak words. It's all about having specialist service providers and consultants have a system that's going to make sales much easier for them. Now, I'm not telling you to actually say you should get it because you can't get it unless you're a member of the actual Forge. But what the thing that's important about it is that I'm launching that within my 6-week period. So what am I doing each week to make that happen? What is the next tiny step that needs to happen? Do I know what that tiny step is? One of the other things is I'm actually I'm spending quite a significant amount of money to get coaching training, which is very cool. Got this great coach that's actually taking me much deeper in my own coaching training to get better at the things that I do, because by getting better at the things that I do, I can help more people. I can be more effective at helping them get out of their own way and actually getting more results. Now, that's going to compound in my business. Now, it's a stretch cash flow. Absolutely it is. But I can already see the benefit that it's adding to my business. So what is the thing that you need to do right now? What is the one step? What is the one thing? What's your intention? And ideally, what is the progress you're making toward that? And so in that review process, and look, if you want that review process, I'm more than happy to actually give it to you guys. It just talks about the process of the wins that you've had from the week before, reviewing the lessons that you've learned. It's a little spreadsheet that I've got, and it's about creating your intention for the week ahead. What are the 1, 2, or 3 activities? One is really the focus. One's the main activity that you do every week. If you want that, just put it in the chat and I'll actually shoot it across to you. But it's just a little template that I use, right? So it's something that I do each week. Because the cool bit about looking at the wins is you go, right, what did I say I was going to do? All right, cool. I achieved those things. That is a massive win because each one of those wins gets me closer to where I want to be. When I started my business, I had this intention that I was going to create this business with employees and we were going to be running all these clients and doing all this stuff. And I was thinking back when I was, way back when I started in graphic design while I was getting into marketing. And I'm like, maybe one day I'll have a business like that. And then I flash forward, I've got a business like that. I had like 10 to 12 employees, depending on what day of the week it was. And I'm like busy and fires are being put out all over the place. I'm on that roller coaster ride. I'm going, oh my God, how am I supposed to be handling this? But then I decided to look back and go, look where you've come from, Russell. You're at that place where you were like thinking it'd be nice to have that one day and now you've achieved it. You've actually reached the top of the mountain. You've got to celebrate that, man. You've got to actually go, that's a really great thing that you've been able to do. Then what's next? Not what's next all the time. Celebrate the thing that you've done. What are the lessons that you learn from it and how can you apply that into the actions going forward? So just to go back to the top, investing in support. You really need to get support, especially in this day and age, to make sure that you are not only competitive, but also like not burning out. There's a certain way of managing yourself, which is difficult when you're your own boss. So having that support in there to help align you, help to focus you is incredibly important, I think. The second one is making sure that you're doing tiny yet powerful steps. What is the most important tiny little step I'm going to action this week that's going to have a compounding impact for my business? And am I looking at the progress? Am I reviewing each week to say, what did I do? What did I accomplish? What was a win? What did I learn from that? And how is that going to inform my choices on the week ahead? What am I going to commit to? So if you start doing those things, guess what? You stop doing all this. The roller coaster ride of business floats away. And you actually start cruising. You get in that Cadillac and you start cruising along and things become just so much more fun. Yes, there's elements of things that are systemized and they just happen when they happen, which is really nice for those people who are all over the place. But the flip side is it gives you mind space to be far more creative and create more interesting things and help more people in the process when you are in that cruising altitude. So if you're interested in the checklist that I actually use to review my week, let me know and I'll shoot that across to you. Just as an aside too, I think next week I'm going to be actually releasing this 10 principles piece that's about advisors, consultants and specialist service providers. It's this really cool principles thing on how to actually be beyond the trusted advisor. That's coming out next week. But for those people who are watching this probably in the future, feel free to put comments in here, ask questions. I'll come back and I'll respond to them. If you're not part of the Future Proof Business Group, then come over to Facebook and check out the Future Proof Business Group on Facebook, and you can apply to join there. Absolutely free. It's just a lot of good people getting together and having a bit of a chat about how to adapt your business in this ever-changing business environment. And if you are interested in actually working with someone to help you get more sales and marketing and a much easier way to get clients, better clients in your business, then you might want to consider the Forge, which is a business program that I run on an ongoing basis. So my name is Russell Pearson. It's been an absolute pleasure to be having chat with you. Stay passionate, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.